Alrighty, welcome to my portfolio critique. Thank you all for coming. If you guys don't already know who I am, my name is Prem Patel. I am actually a computer science and creative technologies double major here at Berry College, and I just kind of want to share some of the things that I've done since I've been here. So the first thing is I am a creative technologies grader slash teaching assistant here, and I have been for the past 2 years. And what that kind of entails is that I have some scheduled ops hours for students to come in and get help with like code or any other software issues that they have. The next thing is I am a resident assistant, and I have been for the past 3 years. And what that kind of entails is I just make sure residents are in a good environment and just making sure they're doing well, like being on campus. And finally, I am a part of the computer science club here, and I was actually one of the founders in 2023, and I was the secretary for 1 year, and I was also the president last year. So the age-old question, why did I choose CRT? Well, so I started off my freshman year as a dual degree engineering major, and this was kind of like a filler major for me. So I knew the computer science major was going to come out here at Berry, and I made sure to like ask ahead of time before I came here. And so the spring of my freshman year, I met former alumni Austin Stevenson, and she was a lab assistant here. And what happened was that she gave me a tour here at Hackberry, like just for fun. And I made like my first light up LED keychain. And I was like, whoa, this is just so cool. Like doing something I never knew how to do. And then like seeing everything else in the Hackberry lab, it's just like, I was like, yeah, I want to do this. And so I kind of kept continuing with the program and became a CRT major combined with my CS major. So the theme kind of going in for today is utilizing code to develop visualizations for enhanced understanding of student and campus issues at Berry College. So this kind of entails that there are a bunch of campus-wide issues going on here at Berry, ranging from like athletic issues to student issues with the classroom, just like things of that nature. And these three projects that I'm going to showcase kind of reflect on why um, these issues have occurred. So the first one is Caffeine Takes. So Caffeine Takes is a mobile application that I made in one of my CRT courses. And essentially the reason why I made this is because my senior year of high school, I actually was very addicted to caffeine. And it got to the point where I was about to have a race for my cross country season, and my heart was just racing so bad, and I just started getting like I think I ended up having some heart issues that I had to deal with. And ever since then, I was like I need to manage like my caffeine intake, and I actually stopped. So this app is kind of created to help students manage their caffeine intake and be able to drink the recommended amount, which is 200 to 300 milligrams, according to the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. So yeah, and what I use for this is Bootstrap, which is an open-ended framework that essentially allows you to create a template. And there are some like pre-made templates that you can use from, and which I use one as well. I use PHP, MySQL, which is a structured query language that basically keeps track of the data that is being taken from the user input. And you can remove this data and do certain things with the data as well. And finally, I use VS Code, which is the platform where I did all my coding. So kind of key takeaways that I wanted to gain from this is the user experience and user interface, in which I use Figma, which is a website that basically allows you to make mock pictures and mock like screens for like websites, and this is kind of what I use for that case as well. The next thing is project management. I feel like being able to do a project starting from absolutely nothing is very difficult to do, and a lot of things are required to make this like happen, which is like you have to manage your time, you have to like be on track with things, you have to understand like certain aspects of coding, certain aspects of the front end work, like design, things like that. and then database management or database management. So essentially, like I said, using MySQL to basically keep track of that data, so you can like do things with it, such as delete certain portions of data and things like that. So essentially, what I have up here in the top left is that I have like each log of the caffeine app that people log, and you have an X button where you can delete like each certain thing on that. And finally, I use draw.io, which is a website that you can basically make some cool flowcharts, which I made right here. And this is kind of for my backend side of things. So essentially, these are like all my pages that I'm going to have on the app. And there's also other things such as like for my login page, I need to have certain data points to put into that, like your username, password, things like that. And finally, I did want to share some of the results. And for the results I got right here with the people that I used at Berry, I found that energy drinks was the most used caffeine drink. And my next project is Sunlight Study. So Sunlight Study was a group project that I was involved in with another CRT course. It took roughly half a semester to do. And this was essentially a way to track the temperature and the sunlight around a certain building around Berry College's campus. And what I decided to use, what we decided to do was the Cook Building around Berry College. And within this, we did a few things. So we actually created these sensors and to put around the building as well. And what we did with that was we used printed circuit boards, PCBs, to house all those sensors around four sides of the building. So we can collect the data and use that for our analysis. And we also created a website that was able to like showcase that data with graphs and sorts of things like that. And finally, I also 3D printed and designed a kiosk to showcase to the viewers. And what I use for that is Bootstrap, Arduino, PHP, and MySQL. So like I said, this project was a group project, and I had a role in this as well. Oops. And my first role was to create the flowchart on Draw.io. So essentially what I did was similar to the Caffeine Takes app, created a flowchart to basically keep track of like which pages that have certain pieces of data in. The next thing is ensuring all sensors are reading at all times and replacing batteries when they are dead. This was definitely the hardest thing to do because the batteries would die every few hours, and I was just having to go at like nighttime or like in the morning to keep these data points going because like we need these for the analysis later on in the future. So just being able to do that, it definitely was a struggle, but I definitely we got it working. And finally, what I did was I 3D modeled and designed a kiosk right here. And I actually did not take the Fusion 360 class beforehand. So this was definitely a big learning experience. And it was definitely a good little intro for me to go into that class and kind of learn more about that. And so I 3D designed that and then laser cut it. And yeah, you got it right here. So some of the key takeaways that I want to gain from this is first off, teamwork and collaboration skills. Being able to do this, like we all could not do this without each other because this was such a large project to do in such a short time. The next thing, like I said, is time management. So like I said, we did not have that much time to work on this together. So essentially what we did to help us was we made a Trello board, which is essentially a to-do list type board that you can make to assign tasks to certain group members or just to do yourself. It's kind of like your own to-do list in a way. So this definitely helped us manage our time and gain a lot of progress as well. And finally, hands-on experience with physical prototyping. So like I said, with the sensors, we used an Arduino, and we also 3D modeled and designed the encasing as well. So being able to work with those physical prototypes and just kind of gain more understanding on that definitely helps. And finally, for my for my other projects, I did the impact of academic and athletic scheduling on school or on college athletics. So this was a data-driven study that I did for my computer science capstone, and this essentially is where grabbed a lot of people from a few select teams such as football, volleyball, softball, men's and women's lacrosse, men's and women's soccer, and volleyball. Or yeah, and we essentially created a Google survey that basically figured out how their mental well-being, physical well-being, academic performance, and just kind of risk of burnout and injury affected them. And we advised the survey and gained roughly 41 participants for this. And what we did with that data is we did some linear regression, logistic regression. So these are like machine learning models and neural networks targets for our data analysis and just our visualization of graphs and things of that nature. And for what I use for that is Python, Jupyter Notebook, and Google Colab. So some of the key takeaways that I wanted to gain from this is first off, data-driven insights. So I wanted to figure out better approaches for students to be able to manage their athletic schedules and their academic schedules. And so this was definitely a good learning experience for that. The next thing is general research process familiarity. So I've never done a research paper or like a research like full on my own or with somebody else before. And just being able to go through the process of, having to make a survey, send out that survey, get these data points, that's definitely a lot of work. And just being able to go through that process and actually get some good feedback was definitely a great thing for us. And finally, information visualization. So visualization, machine learning outcomes through correlation plots and statistical graphs to highlight key patterns and relationships. So what I have right here is an interactive heat map. Essentially, this is a correlation heat map for each of the questions that I have down below and right here on the X and Y axis. They are the same questions, but like spaced out. And essentially, if they are very red, that means they're very positively correlated, meaning both questions are majority alike. And if they're mainly blue, that means that they are total opposites of each other, and they're not very correlated. So I want to point out a question right here. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your overall stress level in season, and how many nights per week do you spend less than 6 hours of sleep due to academic obligations? And I got a correlation of 55%, which is a little more red than usual. And that basically means that this question kind of correlates with each other. If you sleep less than 6 hours, like you're gonna be stressed because you're running on like little to no sleep. But yeah. So finally, going on to my CRT capstone of what I've done this past semester, and this is Barry Talks. So this is a podcast series showcasing the experience and issues within athletes here at Barry College. So you may ask, why Barry Talks? So Barry Talks was a way for student athletes to basically share their experiences here at Barry and just kind of have a platform to kind of share their story on. And within this project, I've gained so much feedback and so much knowledge that I really didn't know about certain athletes. And this is also a way for other athletes to kind of view in, watch, and kind of feel the same way about certain issues that like the athletes that were on the podcast kind of felt. And finally, this is a way to develop my communication skills. So communication skills is very useful, especially like out in the real world when you're trying to get a job, go in that interview. You definitely need these communication skills. And it also helps the interviewee as well. Interviewees. So you might ask like how I choose my guests. So I kind of broke this down into 3 points. The first one is kind of choosing their athletes based on their significant impacts in their college careers. So I have a few guests right here. Landon Painter, he went from injury. So he tore his ACL and MCL and like meniscus and he was out for a year. and he definitely came back stronger than ever, just from mentally and physically, and just hearing his story was amazing. Next one is Grant Stubbs. He had to transfer colleges to come here and walk on the basketball team, and he was originally on another college team. So just hearing that story and the process of doing that was great. And then finally, Haley Stevens, balancing academics and athletics. So like I was talking about in my previous project, there is a lot that goes into having to balance those two things. So how do I advertise this? So there was a advertise. The first one is Instagram. So I created some Canva pictures, Canva post right here, as you can see, to kind of share who the guest is and just a little bit about them by the pictures that I show. This was a great way to kind of share this because I didn't want to kind of like say their name. There has to be a way to like show like that these are like worthy guests and that these people like what kind of sports they do, things like that. And this was a good way. The next thing is Discord. So Hackery Lab actually has a Discord server where I actually share the YouTube channel that I have all my videos on for them to watch. And finally, YouTube, and this is where I publish my episodes.
Sorry, I got you.
Yeah. So kind of going into the analytics, so it very talks by the numbers. So each episode was roughly 30 minutes was roughly 30 minutes for the content portion, and I ended up with a total count of 6 episodes, and it was 3 hours and 30 minutes of all content. That was a lot of content that kind of went into it, and that's all edited. So unedited, it's probably a lot more. So 57.3 hours of total watch time for all 6 episodes. So that means, like from all the viewers, that's how many hours total throughout all 6 episodes was viewed. I had 629 total views, and I had 4.3K impressions for all videos. So that means like if you're on a YouTube video and you like you're going to your next video, this video or one of these videos would pop up as that like next video. So kind of what are my next steps and what I'm gonna do after Barry? So I've actually applied for the online master's in computer science program at Georgia Tech, and I'm still hoping to hear back from them. I still haven't heard back, but I really wanted to join this program to kind of deepen my understanding of computer science skills and just being able to open up more job opportunities for me because the job market it's struggling because of AI is taking over a lot of the jobs. And so which I have also been applying to many jobs currently at 200 plus in hopes to hopefully land an opportunity. But yeah, thanks so much. Questions?